I got some sushi that costs $1,000. Let's have it together. My mother-in-law tells me with excitement. My mother-in-law, who used to constantly belittle me, got such top-notch sushi for me. With trepidation, I took a bite of tuna and immediately spit it out. What is this? Unforgivable to do something like this. My name is Alexis and I'm 28 years old. I work as an office worker in a general company. I've been married to my husband Albert for about 2 years. There's only one thing that worries me. It's his mother's presence. Last year, my father-in-law passed away, leaving my mother-in-law alone. Since then, she started contacting me frequently. Alexis, I've been lonely since your father passed away. Reluctantly, I entertained my mother-in-law's phone calls. I see. Can I come over and visit tomorrow? Well, both Albert and I have work tomorrow. I'll come in the evening and stay the night. Huh? But we have work day after tomorrow too. Don't worry about me. I'll make myself comfortable at home. Even if you say so. As a working couple, we were busy with work and household chores, so we honestly didn't have time to entertain my mother-in-law. But no matter how much we said, we have work, my mother-in-law turned a deaf ear. And then one day, on this day as well, my mother-in-law suddenly visited our house. While having dinner, my mother-in-law said the following. Hey, I've been thinking, how about I live here with you? Huh? You know, I come over here so often, right? So I thought it would be better if we lived together. Isn't that too sudden? Just as I was about to refuse, my husband interrupted me. Isn't it a good idea? Huh? Albert, what are you saying? Since Dad passed away, Mom must be lonely. Considering what might happen, wouldn't it be reassuring if she lived with us? Wait a minute. It's not something you decide on your own like this. It wouldn't be a problem, right? Mom can help with the household chores and you'll have an easier time, right, Alexis? It's not about that. We should discuss this properly before making a decision like this. Ignoring my objections. As expected of Albert, my mother-in-law's eyes sparkled. Albert is such a thoughtful and good child. I knew you would say that. I was also considering it. It must be difficult for Mom to keep coming over here, so why not live together? Well, is that so? It would have been better if you had told me sooner. Nah. Isn't your mom's decision a top priority? I didn't want to force cohabitation, so I was waiting for your mother to bring it up. You really are something, aren't you? You're too kind. Nah, not really. My husband, who seemed pleased with the praise from my mother-in-law. But to be honest, their conversation, ignoring my opinion, was nothing but unpleasant. Afterward, the cohabitation plan proceeded without me, and 2 weeks later, my mother-in-law moved in. My room became my mother-in-law's room without my consent, and I no longer had my own space. Moreover, since my mother-in-law couldn't do household chores properly, I ended up doing them as before. On top of that, my mother-in-law began to bully me after we started living together. When I came home from work, she would start criticizing me right away. Hey, Alexis, you've been coming home late recently, haven't you? I'm sorry, it's a busy season and I often end up working overtime. Overtime? You're a wife, aren't you? Instead of prioritizing work, focusing on the housework properly, yesterday's dinner was pasta, right? But it's not like we're having frozen pizza. We're a dual-income household, so it's always been like this. Always making excuses. Such an unappealing wife. For about an hour from the time I come home until my husband returns, My mother-in-law's preaching continues incessantly. But when my husband comes home, she quickly changes her attitude and becomes her usual kind self. Witnessing my mother-in-law's drastic change, I couldn't help but feel not only surprised but also disgusted. Shortly after that, it became apparent that I was pregnant. When I first told my husband, he was overjoyed.
Really? Our child?
Yes, that's right. We don't know the gender yet.
Either way, I'm happy. No way I'm gonna be a father.
Albert, you look so happy.
Of course, right? It's our kid after all. They're definitely going to be adorable. I'll work even harder.
I'll continue working diligently until my maternity leave. Let's do our best together. My husband is also looking forward to the birth of our child, and considering his personality, he'll probably be a great father. Even when I go on maternity leave, we should be financially stable. With the two of us, we can surely overcome the challenges of raising a child. I was confident about that. Afterward, when we confirmed the baby's heartbeat, I decided to inform my mother-in-law as well. I was worried about what she might say, but unexpectedly she was happy for us. Since then, my mother-in-law had stopped making snide remarks towards me, and she has even helped with household chores and taken care of me. Fortunately, I haven't had severe morning sickness, so I've been able to continue working as usual. Above all, I was delighted to see our relationship improving with my mother-in-law. However, around 3 months later, my mother-in-law's attitude changed again. The trigger was the confirmation of the baby's gender. During a parental checkup, we were told it's a girl, and I informed my husband and mother-in-law during dinner. Mother-in-law, Albert, I went to the hospital today, and it turned out that baby in my belly is a girl.
A girl? Seriously?
I smiled as my husband rejoiced. Yeah, it seems almost certain.
I see a girl. She's definitely going to be adorable. I'll have to buy lots of clothes for her.
Albert, you're so eager. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law alone was rowing beside us. Looking back, it seems that my mother-in-law was displeased with the fact that her first grandchild was a girl. From the next day, the snide remarks started again.
I never expected Alex to get pregnant with a girl.
Huh? What do you mean?
Since you married into the family, you should have been pregnant with a boy, not a girl, right? A girl can't become the heir.
Isn't it more important for the child to be born safely than worrying about being the heir?
Huh? What nonsense are you spouting? Let me tell you, you'll have to work hard until you give birth to a boy.
But it seems my mother-in-law is extremely unhappy about the fact that the baby is a girl. Every time we see each other, she sighs, and if I buy baby items for a girl,
what a waste of money.
She started complaining like that. Of course, she doesn't show such attitude in front of my husband. She only makes snide remarks when I'm around. It must have been around that time. That's when I started keeping a diary of my mother-in-law's words and actions. Since starting my maternity leave, the harassment had gradually escalated. When I returned home from shopping, my mother-in-law greeted me with a beaming smile.
Welcome back, Alexis. I ordered takeout for lunch today.
Huh? Didn't you say I would cook when I got back home from shopping?
Did I?
Well, never mind. We have sushi now, so let's enjoy it.
Sushi?
Mother-in-law, I can't eat raw food because I'm pregnant.
Oh dear, that's right. You did mention that. How could I forget? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'll eat something else. Please go ahead and have the sushi, mother-in-law. Well, since we have it, how about enjoying some delicious sake? How about you, Alexis?
No, I can't drink alcohol either.
Oh my, how forgetful for me. Well, then I'll enjoy it myself. She would intentionally prepare things that I couldn't eat. It would be one thing if it were this obvious, but sometimes she would secretly mix raw food into my meals. Days like these continued for a while, and I couldn't bear it any longer. I decided to talk to my husband about it.
Mother doing something like that? That's impossible.
My husband laughed out loud at my mother-in-law's actions. He can say that because he hasn't seen it. It's true. Just the other day, she ordered sushi without asking.
Maybe she just happened to forget that pregnant women can't eat raw food? You're exaggerating, Alexis.
But it's not the first time. She even offered me alcohol. I'm really troubled. I've been keeping a diary as evidence, you know?
Hey, Alexis, isn't that going a bit too far?
Huh?
You shouldn't talk as if it's a bother when Mom does all these things for you, Alexis. You should feel sorry for her. It's so mean of you to keep a diary and be so insidious.
What's that? Are you taking Mom's side instead of mine?
It's not about taking sides. You're just being dramatic. Mom is going out of her way to care for you. You should be grateful instead.
My husband accuses me as if I'm at fault. Instead of reprimanding my mother-in-law, they treat it as my mere selfishness. I tried taking to them a few more times, but they didn't take it seriously. Thinking that it was impossible to continue being around my mother-in-law, I hastily decided to return to my hometown for childbirth. Then my mother-in-law and husband started complaining relentlessly.
It's such a luxury for a daughter-in-law to go back to her hometown for childbirth when I'm here. That's right. Mom does all these things for you, and you don't even show any gratitude.
Oh well, I guess that means I'm not trusted. It's quite a shock.
I'm sorry, Mom. It's just that Alexis is being selfish.
Despite their comments, I went ahead with a decision to go back to my hometown to protect myself and the child. And then, 2 months later, my daughter was born safely. I didn't want to introduce my daughter to my mother-in-law, but since she was my first grandchild, I reluctantly agreed to let them meet. My husband showed genuine affection for our daughter, but my mother-in-law was different as usual. Taking advantage of my husband leaving the room, she started picking on me with her nagging. That child doesn't resemble Alexis at all, not cute in the slightest. Why would you say something like that out of the blue, mother-in-law? In response to my objection, my mother-in-law stuck her tongue out, seemingly innocent. Oh, sorry, the truth just slipped out. Girls are never cute to begin with, and to think she looks like you instead of Albert, that poor child. What is wrong with you? How can you say such things to someone who just gave birth? Well, it's the truth, isn't it? Anyway, it can't be helped now that the child is born. I'll at least play along with the minimum family charade. At that moment, my patience had already reached its limit. It was during the first month after giving birth that an incident occurred. Father, feeling my anger. I didn't want to return to the house where my mother-in-law was, so I was still staying at my parents' home. Then one day, I received a message from my husband.
Mom wants to celebrate the birth, so come back home.
I wasn't particularly thrilled, but if it was for a celebration, I decided to bring my daughter home. My husband was absent due to work, but my mother-in-law welcomed me with a wide smile. "Alexis, welcome back. Everything is ready for the celebration." "Oh, thank you." "Today, we got some sushi. It's a super premium sushi set priced at $1,000 per serving. You're not pregnant anymore, Alexis, so you can enjoy it too, right?" $1,000? Did you really get such expensive sushi? It's fine. It's just arrived, so let's dig in quickly." "I'm sorry, thank you." As my mother-in-law watched with a smile, I picked up a piece of tuna from the sushi barrel. But the moment I took a couple of bites, I felt something off and ended up spitting it out. "What is this?" As I looked at what I had spat out, my spine froze. There, wedged between the fish and rice, was a cigarette butt. "What's the meaning of this, mother-in-law? Why would something like this?" "Stop making a fuss. You're just a useless woman who can only give birth. Don't act all high and mighty. This is outrageous. How could you do something so terrible just because you dislike me?" "Serves you right. I'll say it plain and simple. It's your fault for being useless." In that moment, I felt a surge of anger that made my blood boil. Unbelievable. I never expected to go this far. There is no way I can raise my daughter in this environment. Having lost all trust in my mother-in-law's actions, I threw the entire sushi barrel into the trash can right in front of me. And then I left the house and returned to my parents' home. A few hours later, I received a message from my husband asking where I was. Without replying, I received a phone call this time. "Hello? Is this Alexis? What the hell are you doing? Where are you right now?" "I'm at my parents' house. What about it?" "What do you mean, what about it? Mom was crying. She had gotten high-end sushi for the celebration and you just threw it away." "Oh, about that. I did throw it away, that's true." "You're admitting it? Don't mess around. How far are you going to go to harass Mom? When will it be enough for you?" "Harassment? I haven't done anything like that." Before I could finish speaking, my husband interrupted me. "Don't lie!" And he shouted angrily. "Since before the birth, you've been painting Mom as a villain of everything. Even today, Mom went through the trouble of getting sushi for the celebration." "That's because your mother never had any intention of celebrating from the start." "What are you talking about? You made Mom cry. You're truly despicable. Apologize to Mom." My husband, who continued to believe and side with my mother-in-law more than his wife, became increasingly enraged over the phone. I had completely run out of patience. Against his one-sided anger, I asked coldly, "Hey, did you not look inside?" "Huh? Inside?" "Did you not see what was inside the sushi your mother got?" "I saw it being thrown into the trash can. You did it, didn't you?" "Then, take a look at this." I sent a photo from my smartphone. "Can you understand anything from the image I just sent?" "Huh? This?" "There was a cigarette butt between the fish and rice in the sushi your mother prepared. Can you still call this a celebration for the birth?" "That's a lie. Mom wouldn't do something like that." "You still don't get it? Your mother has never been happy about my childbirth. She's been constantly berating me, calling me a useless daughter-in-law." "That's not true. Mom genuinely rejoices at the birth of her grandchild." Even at this point, he still tries to defend my mother-in-law. There is no point in taking this man anymore. That's how I feel. To my husband, who tries to protect my mother-in-law, I said coldly, "Enough. You want to believe in your mother that much, then go ahead. But in return, I'm leaving you.
Huh, Alexis, what are you saying?
I don't need a family that won't protect our daughter. Despite my numerous pleas, you only care about your mother. I'm mama's boy like you. I'm leaving you. It's a divorce.
Wait, please. I never intended for a divorce.
I'll tell you, it's too late. I don't see you as family anymore, and I have no intention of going back to that house. I'll raise our daughter on my own with full responsibility. Never appear in front of me or daughter again. Enjoy your rotten beloved mama and live happily ever after, you mama's boy. I yelled at my phone and hung up. I set it to block his calls, cutting off all contact. Afterward, I visited a law firm and requested mediation for divorce from my husband. Since I had been documenting this mistreatment for my mother-in-law in a diary, along with a photo of the sushi, it became solid evidence. It became clear through our previous interactions that my husband sided with his mother, resulting in a divorce due to his fault. The divorce scandal spread among our neighbors, and I was met with cold stares. Rumors were circulating everywhere, making it impossible for me to go out. I was whispered about the terrible mother-in-law who bullied her daughter-in-law, and the mama's boy husband who didn't protect his wife. Of course, I felt no sympathy. It was all my own doing, no matter how you look at it. On the other hand, I decided to stay with my parents for a while, taking care of my daughter. Once she grows up a little, I plan to return to work and live together with her. I want to shower my daughter with lots of love, making up for the fact that her father is no longer around. I want her to feel happy even without a father. I vow to do everything in my power to make that happen.